So I think that one of the most important things that I've heard this week is the idea that money is spiritual. I have been on this streak of listening to Myron Golden, and he said money is spiritual. And being from a Christian background, I think, why have I never looked at it like that? Why have I never looked at money as spiritual? We look at money, we think money, and we think a piece of paper, we think something that can get us something we can conduct trade with. And one of the things that are commonly said in the Bible is money is the root of evil, money is the root of evil. But I don't think that's actually a Bible verse. Money is the root of all evil is not very true, because God himself used money, or Jesus used money. He got it. He has had one of his disciples go and get it out of the fish's mouth, but at the same time he needed money to pay Potiphar. Or was it Potiphar? Caesar, to pay Caesar. So it is interesting that we know principles. We have a general understanding of things and entities, but we never really sit down to reflect on it. I've constantly said, don't chase the money, let the money come to you. Do the things that allows the money to naturally come to you. If you work at a job, do a really good job so that they can keep you coming. They can keep you employed. If you are running a business, be diligent, work hard, and make sure that you're treating your customers with respect. Money is spiritual. That really got me thinking. And I heard it one time, but I did not think on it. I did not sit on it. I did not reflect on that whole idea until a couple of nights ago. I was reading his book, Boss Moves, and I wasn't actually reading it, I was listening to the audiobook. And he said it in such a way that hit me different. And the reason it hit me different was that I had spent most of the night writing and imagining what my life would look like if I did certain steps. So with a piece of pen and paper, which I think I have I have 18 pages of notes from his book, the Boss Moves, which I have decided that I'm going to be affiliate for, because that book was amazing. So I was listening to the book and taking notes. And then I would stop. He would say something and I'll be like, oh, that is so inspiring. And I would start writing and writing and writing and writing. Then I would turn it on and I'll be like, oh, that is so inspiring. And I'll write. And I kept going at it for quite a while. And then I at one point I was just like, let me really reflect on some of these ideas that I'm getting. And I took a moment and I reflected. And after reflecting on the ideas, I was like, okay, cool, I can move on. I can keep listening. And then as it was like early hours in the morning when I decided, okay, maybe as we listen a little bit, I'm really motivated by this. I am not feeling tired. I should be sleeping, but I'm not sleeping. Should be sleeping, right? And I wasn't sleeping. By this time, it was maybe 4 a.m. And I pressed the play button again. And then it came, that's when the line came up, money is spiritual. And it made so much sense to me at that very moment. Why did it make so much sense at that very moment? It made so much sense at that very moment because I just pulled an all-nighter listening and just kind of writing, listening and writing all the great ideas I was getting from the book. So I was like, generally, I pull all-nighters to do homework. I will pull an all-nighter to pray, but I don't necessarily pull an all-nighter to read a book about money, right? Like about entrepreneurship, about strategies and all of that. Like, unless I was doing it for school, I didn't think that I could. I have pulled all-nighters reading maybe an amazing African novel, and that was when I was much younger. Now I spend a lot more time reading articles, writing papers, doing journal articles, and then maybe some textbooks. And I listen more because I've read so much over the years. I just like, give me an audiobook, please. Give me an audiobook, which reminds me, I need to convert my children's books into audiobooks because people keep asking me for the audiobooks, and I'm not having the time to sit down and record the audiobooks. So yeah, just a side thought. But that night, as I was thinking to myself, money is spiritual. Money is a spiritual entity. Money is spiritual. I said, what is it about this that resonate with me so well at about 4 a.m. in the morning? What is it that resonate? And then I kind of tie it back. How do I generally spend nights? If I really had to be up at night, how do I spend my nights? One of the ways I spend it is pray, like I mentioned before. One of my other ways of spending it is basically reading something that is due the next day, and I have to create a presentation or submit an assignment. So I don't generally spend my 2 a.m.s in the morning listening to an audiobook. No, I loved reading when I was much younger, and I would read all the stories, and I would pull all-nighters on the fireside in Cameroon, in an African village, reading, right? And I would just read and read and read, and I really enjoyed reading. So that night, listening to an audiobook throughout the night, and taking notes. The audiobook is 3 hours, and I could have read it in maybe times 2, but I didn't. And I thought, okay, it's about 3.5 hours. And I thought to myself, I can finish this. I started maybe like 9 o'clock at night, and I said, I can finish this book. I can just listen through it. I brought my notepad and my pen and my paper, and I just sat in bed and I listened and I just wrote. But it was so interesting that I just kept writing and writing and writing and writing. And until that moment, I would stop and write, like I was saying, stop and write. And then at about 4 a.m., I had been writing and breaking down my finances, breaking down how I would run the consulting, breaking down how I would group it, breaking down how the income is going to flow. Like, how do I get income flow, right, through the program that I'm setting up? And as I'm building through that, it's on white paper, so it's hard for me to really show it. I have like 3 pages. I like the numbers, so I have like pages and pages of numbers that I was just kind of breaking things down. And so I took a beat and I said, why is it that this is resonating with me so well? Why? And it just reminded me of the fact that I felt like I was doing something very spiritual at that time. And generally at that hour, if I'm up that late and I'm staying late, midnight, if I'm up after 12 o'clock, I may be getting up to pray or something like that. It's not because I'm reading a text. It's not a textbook. Boss Moves. It's Boss Moves. If you're just joining me, it's Boss Moves by Myron Golden, and it's a financial book. So yes, I have multiple companies. I'm building this one, the coaching business. So I'm reading all these books and listening to the audiobooks, and taking notes and learning how to really structure the business and all of that. So working that late really made that idea that money is spiritual resonate very deeply with me, because I was working on an hour where is generally I pray or I rest, which is sleeping, right? I rest. I don't overall work at that hour between maybe midnight and 4 a.m. I generally don't work unless I have a deadline, like I said before. So I was using a time that is very spiritual to me to do this and to calculate the financials, the structure, the organization, and what strategies I need to take in order to get my business moving and going the way I needed to do it, and being able to see the money part, like visualize it. Yes, it's very imaginary at this time, but at least I'm I can speak. I'm visualizing it and saying, okay, this is doable. The way that I am structuring this business is doable. The way that he's advising me to structure this business is doable. I think I can do this. I think I can hit the numbers. It might not go right as quickly as I like, because I still have to teach not full-time, part-time, but it literally feels like full-time because I'm teaching at 3 universities. So I still have to do my day job while building this company. And sometimes you think, oh, if I give up my day job, I don't know if this company is going to make me enough money. So it was very spiritual for me to sit down and do the math and see that if things go the way I'm working and setting up and following the instructions that I'm being given and following the guidance that I'm receiving, that I will definitely get to the place where I don't have to work that job that I'm working. I don't have to teach at 3 university. I can teach a greater audience outside of the university. And if I choose to continue to teach at universities, it won't be because I couldn't go anywhere else. It won't be because I don't have somebody to give me a full-time job, or that my company didn't work out. So yeah, so it was deeply, deeply, deeply spiritual for me to just work through the numbers, feel that deep satisfaction that I'm doing the work that I need to do. And I say this, like, money also shows my beliefs, because it made me to sit back and say, okay, if I am claiming, or if I'm imagining that I'm going to run a company where that makes at least $1 million a year or more, if that is my goal, why do I need that much money? So why I had to stop and ask myself, why do I need to make more than $1 million a year? Why? And that spiritual money, again, I was like, money is spiritual. Money is a spiritual entity. So I need to use money for something good, right? Yes, I will pay my bills. Yes, I will pay off my crazy student loan debt, which if I showed you, you will pass out. All of that. I will pay all of that. But at the same time, I can build a legacy that I want to build. I can help as many people as I have been dreaming and praying and hoping that I can help, right? So sitting down and doing the math, seeing the numbers and saying, this is doable. This is doable. These numbers are doable. This business can work. And I can have the right people to be in my coaching business. I can have the right people to consult that need consultation. I can have the right people that need to buy the resources that I'm offering. Saying all of that and then saying, if every year I make this much money, where does this go? Where does that go? And knowing that at the bottom of it, I am happy I will be happy with what can take care of me, which is not a lot. And the rest of it, I can see a vision of where I want the rest of it to be. That way, I'm not just making money for the sake of making money. I'm making money because I am foreseeing a future. I'm making money because I really, really, really want to do the things that I had dreamt of doing for younger people for many years. When, from the time I was a teenager, I had this dream of doing all these things, helping all this group of people, empowering these young people. So my spiritual moment that night really gave me peace to keep pursuing, to keep working, to keep investing money in not just growing the business, like employing people, but also learning the amount of money I've already put into my personal education to get me to where I am right now. And I'm still learning. I still dropped like 25 grand just to be coached, right? Just to be coached because I want to make sure that this business doesn't fail. And I want to make sure that once I go start having clients and coaching, which I would say my students have been teaching and literally coaching my students, because I believe my classroom, I'm in my classroom for a purpose. I am not in that classroom to collect a paycheck. I am in the classroom. And if a student leaves my classroom and doesn't have something that helps their mindset, then I have failed. Like, I have failed. So my purpose in the classroom is not just to teach. My purpose in the classroom is to motivate, is to empower, is to help this next generation, especially in the undergraduate levels that I teach, to make sure that this next generation can go out there and win, right? So now I want to move most of the things that I have been doing in the classroom to a broader audience outside of the classroom. I had to come to that spiritual place that that decision was correct and that I wasn't chasing money, right? I wasn't just chasing money. It wasn't the biggest goal is, oh, I want to be a millionaire and that's it. No, there is so much more. Like, how deeply spiritual can I make money? Now that I've had this, I don't know, it's an epiphany that money is spiritual, because I know all the biblical things. I know that to run a church, you need money. I'm not running a church, but I know that running a church needs money. So if somebody is saying that, oh, it's not good to chase money, not chase money, it's not good to have a lot of money, then they are not reasoning right, because you cannot do even the God work that you want to do if you don't have money. You need money to do God's work, right? And I might not be a pastor. I have started a church before, been there, done that. This is an era in my life where I feel that I am being called, or my purpose is to educate, empower youth, right? Give them a different mindset, especially the African youth, because those are the ones that have tons of freedom and a lot of time, ingenuity, but lack capacity. So my goal of making money, which I wasn't going to bring it up, but now that I started saying it, my goal of making money is so that I have a board and a nonprofit. I have a nonprofit, and on my checklist, or I have a dream board that I write everything on, and on there I call it my pyramid challenge. And the pyramid challenge is that in my lifetime, at least 20 years from now, I want to be sure that I have impacted at least 11 million African youth. And then anybody else, right? I live in America. I want to impact American youth also. That's why my teaching in the classroom, when I teach young people in the classroom, I coach them. I don't teach them. I coach them. I coach them because I want them. I know they're going to be competing in a world that is very multipolar, right? I want to empower them so that when they go out there, they won't make the mistakes that our current generations are making, or the generations in front of us are making. So I want my American youth that I teach, the ones that are in the undergraduate, to be empowered. Then I want the ones that are in the master's degree levels that I teach and the doctorate degree level that I teach to have the same mindset to empower the younger ones in a multipolar world, right? Not to think that America alone is where their playing ground is going to end. That this is a different world. I have 2 people working for me and they do not even live in America, right? So if I can hire somebody from somewhere else, then the American child that is growing up now should be ready to also work somewhere else. Oh, 1 second. I need to set up something else here that I forgot about this one. I got excited. I was going to do this for about 15 minutes and I have gone for 20 minutes. The goal was like 10 minutes. I was going to be here just 10 minutes and ideas just keep coming, how excited I am. I'm just sharing. I'm going to share for another maybe 5 minutes and I'm going to clear out of here. I'm going to do something else. I was sharing about Boss Moves, which is a Myron Golden book bestseller, and I was listening to the audio book and just taking notes throughout the night and taking notes. And the one thing that I think that he has said, which I've reflected on, which I will keep reflecting on, is the fact that money is spiritual. Money is spiritual. The more we become all that we're supposed to be, the more we are going to and actually be in alignment with where our skills, the things we want to do. Then the money kind of comes together. And I was looking at money also as spiritual in the sense that, yes, we know that even in the Bible, people used money in many ways. Jesus used money to pay Caesar. Yeah, he might have gotten it from the mouth of a fish and all of that, but he had money. We know stories and we've heard of people using the quote, money is the root of all evil. So because of that thought, even if it's not biblically correct, because of that thought, I had to step back and ask myself, why do I want to be rich? Why do I want money? Why do I want to have a company that makes millions of dollars every year? Why? Do I need that much money? No, of course not. I don't need that much money. But why do I want it? Do I want, therefore, to just run a business only to run a business? Do I want to run a business just to say that I ran a successful business? Or do I want to put something deeply purposeful behind it? So what am I going to do with the money that I am going to be getting from doing this business, right? And the business is a coaching business. What am I going to be doing with that money that I'm going to make? So I had to take the time to really deeply reflect. And after reflecting and letting it all sit in with me, I eventually completed the book. I couldn't stop. I literally started at 9 p.m. and I don't think I went to bed until like 6 a.m. because I kept stopping and making notes. And I'm so inspired. I am so inspired. I probably would not be doing this live if I wasn't that inspired. And as I've already noted, I am going to now become an affiliate of Myron Golden stuff because he's helped me shift some things in my mindset, and the books are really helping me really structure my business in a way that will win, right? Not in a way that will fail. I'm taking the risk that I need to take in order to get the coaching that I need to get to build a company. I have built companies before, right? But my most successful company, which is not really a profit company, it's a non-profit company. We've done a lot of work with the non-profit. So with that in mind, I don't feel like I'm really green into it, but there is a certain empowerment that comes with being in a community of people that actually love what they do. And I love teaching. I love teaching intercultural knowledge. I love teaching cultural capacity. I love talking about culture. I love taking people to expose them to other cultures. I love teaching business, right? And especially business in developing countries, what we call subsistence marketplaces. So I really truly enjoy those things, and I want to do more of that. Like, how can I help people bridge intercultural gaps? How can I help people get cultural capacity? How can I help you become more culturally diverse in your thinking, in the way that you work across cultures? Because just knowing somebody in your environment that is from a different culture is not enough. Just traveling and say, oh, I've been to 20, 30, 40 countries. I'm culturally diverse. No, you're not. No, you're not. I personally thought that I was so culturally strong. I have done research. I've written papers. I'm from a different culture. I've lived in this culture for so many years. I've traveled to Asia, Europe, and all of that. Then I measured my cultural capacity. And I literally said to the guy that helped me to assess it, not really measure it, assess it. And I assessed the cultural capacity, and it was somewhere so low. And I was like, your tool is wrong. Your tool is wrong. I know that I should be better. I know that where I am right now, where you're saying I am, that's not where I'm supposed to be. Your tool is wrong. I want to have a conversation. Your tool is wrong. The tool wasn't wrong. The tool wasn't wrong. It was, I got too comfortable. I got too comfortable with my background. I got comfortable because I travel. I got comfortable because I teach this stuff. I got comfortable because I research this stuff. And then my assessment was like, no, you're not. You're not as good as you think you are. You're not. So it's been a year since I took it. I just took it again recently, and I did go to coaching for that. It cost me a couple of $1,000s to go in there and sit down and understand the instrument really well and figure out, okay, where did I go wrong? What am I missing? I'm a professor. I teach intercultural leadership at all levels. I teach business from bottom up approach and subsistence marketplaces. I deal with people from international communities a lot. How on earth can I be that low? How can my assessment be that low? And once I went through that, I was like, aha, now I know. Now I know why. And I'm not sure. I think I'll give you a tip. One of the main reasons why I was so low was because, yes, I wasn't saying that other cultures might be better than mine or that my culture was better than theirs. I wasn't saying that. So I wasn't polarized, right? Which is one of the positions I was in. And being from Africa, I could have said, oh, the American culture is so much better, right? Which I have said that before. Or say there are also things where I would be like, the African culture is so much better, right? I have been in both places. I have been. And I finally came to a place where I was actually saying, one of my favorite things to say for the longest time was, there's something good about all of our culture. There's something good about all of our culture. Let's find our middle ground. it's almost like let's sing kumbaya when it comes to culture. Let's just get together because everything you got good things, I have good things. Let's yeah. So I was in a place where I was constantly focusing on the similarities, even to the point where I was dismissing the difference. I'm making the difference almost look like the different is your different is not so good, so let's not focus on that different. That person's different is not so good, so let's not focus on that different. Or that difference that I have from yours, mine, it might not be so good, so let's not focus on that difference. Let's only play around the area where we're similar. Let's focus on the good. Let's focus. No, so my score kept coming not well. So eventually I now with better understanding, better structuring of my research work, more writing, more coaching, now I am in a good place. Now I'm in a good place, which is why I'm saying, okay, cool. Now I can actually help people get to a good place when they measure their intercultural scores. And again, say, look, just because you're from a diverse culture doesn't mean that you have cultural capacity. Just because you teach it, you research it, it doesn't generally mean that you have cultural capacity. You might have some, but you might not have as much as you think. Just because you travel the world, it doesn't mean. It's giving you exposure and a bit more acceptance, but to get to adaptation, to get to a higher level, to be able to work fluently in between cultures, you need a little bit more. You need a little bit more than just kumbaya, we're all the same and all of that. So yeah, so that's why I am building this company, and that's why I am taking clients, starting to coach outside of the classroom, and eventually the goal is to eventually pull out of the classrooms and do this in person, more outside of the classroom, in my own private company outside of the classroom. But there's some classes that I teach that I absolutely love, and I don't know if I can give it up. So I might do this outside, but I will still probably go teach some of those classes. Just yeah, intercultural leadership. I have a couple of schools I teach that in, and it's such a fascinating experience to watch your students learn new things, learn the things that they thought they knew, which they didn't really know. I know I can do it out here, but it's also fun doing it in the school. But I will get paid better if I did it out here, and then I can do my other thing. I use that money, which is a spiritual thing, and use that money to do the other spiritual things I want to do, like give back, create something that can impact African youth, impact youth all over the world. Yeah, I've been going for about 30 minutes. So maybe I'll continue to speak on this topic. I'll probably continue to speak on this topic. If you want to learn more, send me a message. I am new to Facebook, I'm new to TikTok Live, so I'm still figuring out how to run things. I don't know if the link in my bio really works, so forgive me. If you want any more information, you can go to my website. It's ruthakumbu.com, or you could just inbox me, send me a message, and I will reply. Thank you all so much. There's almost 54 people that have stopped by to view this. So thank you. I appreciate it. And I will see what I can do with the schedule of coming and chatting about these things, and maybe people that are interested in intercultural capacity building, maybe we can have more talks on it. But yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, and have a good night, everybody.